that sucked. All right. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Make sure y'all can hear me out there. Can y'all hear me? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. All right, we're good. Let me turn this down a little bit. So we're just trying again, figuring some stuff out, right? Figuring some stuff out. So welcome everybody to figuring this stuff out live. We are here live at the Alpha Esports and Technology Center here in Sewanee, Georgia. If you are in the North Gwinnett area, we are located at 1300 Peachtree Industrial Boulevard, Suite 3109. We are between the Life Giving Chiropractic Center and the Computer Repair Shop. Uh, Funny enough. So I am your host, Davin, Djax, D, whatever you want to call me. Um, so thank you for joining. Let me just turn on my television. See what's on here. But yeah, so again, this is figuring stuff out. Today we are going to do some Q&A along with it, so we can figure out stuff together. So if you have any questions for me, that can be related to gaming, esports, cybersecurity, life, doesn't matter. Just keep it clean and keep it respectful. Um, those of you who are familiar with me or my previous podcasts and streams know I try to be as open and honest as possible. But if I don't know the answer, I don't know the answer. And that's why we're going to figure it out. We're going to jump on and try to figure out the answer to that question together. So, so yeah, like I said, so we are going to appreciate it, appreciate the love. So I was just reading some of the comments. So we are live on multiple platforms. Thanks to Restream. Shout out to Restream. But we are streaming live on YouTube, Twitch, Trovo, and Facebook and LinkedIn right now. So you can see us on multiple platforms. You can see the different platforms here. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can go to the Alpha Esports Tech. You can go to Alpha Esports Tech on Instagram, and you can check us out on YouTube and Twitch for Alpha Esports Tech. You can also just look up Alpha Esports and Technology on LinkedIn, or look up my name, Davin Jackson. I think we're actually streaming from my LinkedIn. So happy Thursday. Let me know in the comments how your day is going. And we are almost to Friday. So let me know what you're excited for this weekend. I'm excited because I am finally starting to make some headway on a lot of the things that we have been working on over the course of the last, I don't know, year here at Alpha Esports and Technology and Alpha Cybersecurity. One thing that I am super proud to announce, well I'm gonna hold off on announcing that now, but I want to announce, I'm gonna make sure. So if those in the chat, remind me that if I don't talk about AppSec Rabbit Hole. If you don't hear anything about AppSec Rabbit Hole, I want y'all to stop what I'm doing. Tell me to stop what I'm doing, and get on the good foot with the AppSec Rabbit Hole. Okay, we're gonna talk about that shortly. But hey, what's going on, Professor Black Ops? So shout out to everybody who is watching. Yep, excited for rest. No, I hear you. I am super excited to get some rest too. I'm gonna be honest with you, though, I don't know much about rest these days unless it's in regards to REST APIs, right? When we started out this program, when we started Alpha Esports and Technology, I will honestly say I underestimated the work it would take to get started. Stupid me, right? I figured I would have known by now that everything is an uphill battle, but I didn't, and I jumped into it thinking that I would be able to utilize some of the things that I've gained over the course of the last few years, and it has helped. It has helped a lot. I'm not gonna discredit that, but yeah, it was it's been a lot. Actually, let me know in the chat if y'all would ever be interested, because I know I've talked to a few people on the gaming side, and I know why they want to do it. But let me know in the chat if y'all would actually be interested in hearing like a podcast, nothing like InfoSec Unplugged. That's like sometimes 2 maybe 3 hours depending on the conversation. But let me know in the chat if you would ever be interested in hearing like a series of stories about about my journey into this, right? My journey into starting out for esports and technology, my journey into the esports arena, learning the differences, and then trying to bring those two worlds together. I actually had a really interesting conversation not too long ago, and I'll bring y'all in on that as well. But yeah, let me know in the chat if y'all would be interested in that. I'm not gonna. Okay, so hold on. Sorry to bother you. Blah 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 for promotion to your channel. Listen, I'm. That's something that we'd have to talk about offline if you're a real person commenting. But yeah. So anyway, yeah. Let me know if y'all would be interested in that. I've had a few people approach me about talking about the story of how I got started and everything. I promise it won't be as entertaining as like what's her name, Risa Tisa, and it probably won't be as long either. No, it might be. I don't know about being 10 minutes long each video, but anyway, like I said, I would let me know. We'll get that started. I keep saying one of these days I'm just gonna sit down in one of my content creation sections and just hit record and just go. But yeah, let me know in the chat if y'all would be interested in something like that. I know there are some who are interested in it because they want to know about how to start a center or what I've done to start the center. I promise you, it is not that exciting. I promise you, I do not have the secret sauce or any cheat codes. It's literally, I'm literally learning a lot as I go. Again, figuring stuff out. So anyway, so yeah, so like I said, it's definitely been a journey this last year, but finally we are starting to make some headway. I've had several conversations. I've been into several rooms and several events talking about it, and a lot of people see the value in it. The funny thing is, a lot of people on the gaming side see the value of being able to teach what it is I'm proposing about tech and cybersecurity to the gamers. But the cybersecurity side or the tech side hasn't been that receptive, which is funny because during in 2020 or 2019 2020 when I first came up with the idea, they were the ones that were clamoring for it, and now it's more of a like, I don't see the correlation or something like that. And I was actually just having a conversation with a rep from a college whose college will remain unnamed until we finalize some things and get some contracts signed. But I was speaking with them, and they were saying the same thing. They're like, yeah, it's almost like the cybersecurity side of things don't really understand it. And the first question I asked, which was actually something that and I don't know if she'd ever see this or if she's watching, but I will give credit and give flowers where they're due. But I was speaking to someone about this late last summer, and when we were having the conversation, she kind of broke it down that way to me. So shout out to Aisha Brown. But when we were talking about bringing the world of gaming and cybersecurity together, and I was telling her my idea, she stopped me right dead in my tracks and was like, "No, actually, it's already there. When you think about in-game purchases and people buying different content or DLC and stuff like that, there is a security element to that. I think so. What I'm thinking is from the cybersecurity side of things, they're thinking of it. And again, this is a problem that a lot of people are having. They're thinking of things too linear. They just think they're just looking at A to B as opposed to all the moving parts, which is weird because coming from a hacker or offensive security standpoint, um, we're always taught to look at how everything works and where we can figure out our pathway in. And I think with the gaming side, there's a lot of transferable skills that can be highlighted to show that. So anyway, I'm just blabbing along. So anybody who's new in the chat, just talk. I want you to put in the chat what you're excited about for this weekend, and also I talked about. Let me know if you would be interested in ever hearing, whether it's a mini series or a series of podcasts of, you know, how I came up with this idea and getting to where I am now. Like I said, I promise it's not as glamorous as some may think it is. But Natural Grappler, yes, games do get hacked online all the time. But it's again, it's just I just think they're looking at the linear standpoint from a career standpoint of how how do you correlate a cybersecurity career into gaming. Grappler, that is absolutely true. Halo, FIFA, people were getting got on FIFA all the time. Same thing with 2K. I think people, it's not as prevalent today as it was maybe a few years ago. But any type of game that had some type of, I don't want to say pay to win, but had some type of financial transaction or have some type of element where you can elevate your game. Those are always being targeted. So yeah, your Halos, your FIFAs, your NBA 2K. I'm missing. I'm sure I'm missing a couple of other ones. I mean, just look at the PlayStation Network getting attacked a few years back. But anyway, the one thing that I think people misunderstand or don't fully understand is you don't have to be in tech to work in tech. Let me say that again. You don't have to be in tech to work in tech. What do I mean by that? When people hear about tech or tech jobs, they think, or cybersecurity jobs, they think, oh, you have to work for one of the FANG companies. You have to work for Facebook or Apple or Amazon or Netflix or what have you. Um, as opposed to working a tech job in schools or hospitals or banks or everybody needs tech, everybody needs cybersecurity, and I think people are thinking too linear. Scribs, what are we figuring out? You tell me. Let me know. We are just talking right now. I want to figure out what you're excited for the weekend. I also want to figure out if you would ever be interested in hearing about, like if I were to do like a podcast series on how I got started and how I opened up Alpha Esports and Technology and how I'm bridging those two worlds of gaming and tech and cybersecurity together. Let me know in the comments. Also, let me know if you have any questions for me. All I ask is that you keep them clean, keep them respectful, be respectful of everybody in the chat, and let's just have a good time. So that's what we're figuring out. We're figuring out what we need to figure out. And also, do not let me end this stream without talking. If I don't talk about AppSec Rabbit Hole, um, and that's like Operation AppSec Rabbit Hole. That's what we're gonna call it. If I don't talk about that today, I want y'all to stop me and let me know because I have been holding on to this now for like the last 2, maybe 3 months, and I think I'm ready to talk about it now, especially with some recent events that's happened in the infosec Twitter sphere, whatever. Anyway, um, so like I said, so so let me know how y'all are doing. Let me know what y'all are working on, what you're excited for. Am I still selling merch? I am most definitely still selling merch. Let me know what merch. Let me know which merch you're talking about because I sell a ton of merch now. I have my Alpha Cybersecurity merch and my InfoSec Unplugged merch, and now I also have my Alpha Esports and Technology merch. But I'll put actually that's a good one, Ty. I'll actually throw them all in the chat. So if anybody's interested in any of the merch, and again, we are streaming live on Restream. Actually, I think I have. Nope, I don't have it here. No, so it's on my different setup. But anyway, oh, that's right. It does come out this weekend or tonight. The new Final Fantasy VII. Um, man, listen, I'm excited about it, but I didn't finish playing the remake on PS5, and I am a firm believer in finishing what I start. So I would have to go back and finish the first Final Fantasy VII remake and then get back into it. So nobody spoil it for me, even though I'm pretty sure I'm gonna catch it on stream and everything anyway. Um, let's see. What am I excited for? I'm excited for the weekend. I'm always excited to see, you know, to see a lot of uh, my kids. I call them my kids, but they're not really. But they're more like my. No, I'm gonna say that my Overwatch team. I'm excited to see. I don't think I have I don't have a tournament going this weekend, but I'm just excited, just to see the people. Um, One thing that I've been blessed to do is, again, we may not have, uh, we may not be packed door to door, but I'm blessed that I have a community of people. I have a community of people, and and you invest once you start talking to people and helping them develop certain things, whether it's their communication skills or their essential skills. I don't call them soft skills, but when you work with them, and you invest in them, eventually, you build a relationship, and they become like your family. So I'm always excited to see, how my kids or how my group has developed over time. Every week is like literally watching them grow, especially with my Overwatch team. I might be showing a little bias because like Overwatch is like one of my favorite games, but just watching them grow from a standpoint of some of them not even ever really playing the game, and watching how they grow. But it's not just in the game, it's watching how they grow in their communication and their leadership skills, how they've learned how to play with each other. um, Now they understand each other, and I even told them that the other day. um, Take that with you into whatever you do next. It doesn't always have to be gaming. Take those communication skills and figuring out how people operate and what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Set your boundaries. Watching them grow, I couldn't be prouder of them. And then on top of it, they're getting really good at the game. So that's a double win for me. Yes, Shogun on FX. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna give y'all some insight on me. Uh, Fun fact, like that timeline, feudal Japan, like that's like that is I love that era of samurais, ninjas. The politics. Like I don't know. I am a big buff, like feudal Japan era. Like that's my like I love that time, and Shogun looks like it's going to be really good. I'm still, please wait, in my free time I'm still playing like Total War Shogun 2. And for those who don't know, the Total War series is like a series. It's real-time strategy games. Um, it's a series of real-time strategy games, and they've done different eras. So they've done Napoleon, they've done geez, they've done. So they did Napoleon, they did like Rome, they've done. Trying to remember all of them. They just came out with a Pharaoh one that I haven't even messed with. They did Three Kingdoms, which was based on ancient China. They've done Troy, so they did like a saga on like the Trojan War, Rome and Rome 2, like that's the ones that everybody knows is Rome 2. Like everybody feels like that's their favorite one. Uh they've done one based on Attila the Hun. They've done Total War Empire, so that's like, the Revolutionary War. They've done medieval times. They've done so many different games. But for me, and then they've jumped into the fantasy era and they've done like Warhammer. So you have your Warhammer series. So my favorites have been, oh yeah, and then there's Britannia. But my favorites have been the Warhammer series and Shogun 2, hands down. I haven't heard too many great things about Pharaoh. Three Kingdoms is cool, but I didn't really enjoy it too much. Um, and I didn't really play Attila like that either. Napoleon was pretty good. I didn't play Empire, and I didn't play Medieval or Medieval 2. But anyway, I say that to say, Shogun, Total War Shogun 2 goes through all goes through the different clans. You're talking about trying to become shogun of feudal Japan. So that's like six. So I keep saying, what's going on, Ray? So I keep talking about feudal Japan. So this is about what, 15th, 16th century Japan. So this was when, like I said, that this was the era of samurais and ninjas and moving in darkness and in the shadows and things like that. And then it had DLC where they started focusing on the rise of the samurai and the fall of the samurai. And the fall of the samurai is basically very similar to what, if you've ever watched The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise, which whatever. Um, that's what Fall of the Samurai covers. It covers when they started bringing in gunpowder and weapons and stuff like that, and they started partnering with with the West. They started partnering with America and stuff like that. And now you have Japan becoming more colonized, and then you had one era that was still believed in the samurai way, and that was a whole clash. But anyway, like I said, Shogun looks like it's going to be really interesting. I'm going to enjoy watching that. Uh, is anything happening at the facility tomorrow? So what is today? Today is Thursday. Tomorrow, no, I don't really think I have anything. I don't have anything planned. Just some open gaming. So if you want to come hang out, game, um, we're doing that. I think we'll do that for about like 10 bucks, $10 an hour or whatever, what have you. No tournaments this weekend, but I'm doing that because March is going to be crazy. We're going to start launching our March Madness, not just with the college stuff, but we're talking March Madness as far as the tournaments and things that we're going to be doing. So throughout the month of March, we are just give y'all a quick rundown. We'll be doing a night party next Friday. Um, we'll be doing different tournaments. So we'll still have our Smash Brothers tournament. We'll be doing Mario Kart, and I'm debating if I want to do a Street Fighter or a Tekken tournament, or if I'm gonna do both. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm definitely thinking about doing a Dragon Ball Fighters tournament for our gaming and anime night. So all of this. So if you want, to be kept up to date with everything that we're doing, you can DM me on Twitter, or you can send me a message at information@alphaesportstech.com. Shoot me an email there and let me know you want to be added to the list, and you will be added to the mailing list that goes out every week. But we are going to be hosting a bunch of events throughout the month of March, right before spring break, because then we have our spring break camps. So yeah, but yeah, like I said, we're going to be doing a bunch of different tournaments on Saturdays. Fridays we'll be hosting different Friday night events. So like I said, next Friday will be the kickoff of our night parties. That will be going from 7 until I don't know. It depends on the size of the crowd and the age of the crowd. But we're thinking like 7 to 10 or 7 to midnight, and that's where we'll host different events. So right, so next Friday will be our launch party where we'll be talking about a few things that we will be bringing into the future. With Alpha Esports and Technology, as well as a few guests that I have coming by, and then after that, I'll be doing gaming and anime night. Is that the following Friday? I have to double check. But we're going to do a gaming and anime nighttime event. That'll be a turn, and we'll probably do a tournament there. So we'll probably do some Tekken or some Dragon Ball fighters. Then Saturdays, we're going to be doing Smash Brothers and Mario Kart. Um, and yeah, that's that. And then we'll also be opening up the center for people who want to rent it out for their own events. That we'll be announcing that too. So y'all getting a preview of some of the stuff. So again, thanks for your questions. Um, keep them coming. Um, what else? Has anybody watched the Avatar series on Netflix yet? Don't spoil it for me. Just tell me your thoughts on the series. Don't spoil it for me, please. I'm still gonna watch it, even if y'all say it's bad, because I want to I want to watch it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that as well. And again, we are streaming on Facebook, we are on YouTube, we are on Twitch, Trovo, and we are on LinkedIn as well. So shout out to everybody watching. And we are doing this all thanks to Restream. If you are interested in Restream, I can add a link. And when you use those links, it does go back to helping out the center. So it doesn't even help me directly, it helps the center. Um, give me 1 second. Let me, like I said, ask whatever questions y'all have in the chat. Just keep it respectful, keep it clean, and I will be right back. All right, sorry about that. Just had a customer call. So again, let's see. So I talked about. All right, let's see what we can now. Let's see what we're gonna figure out. You know what? Let's do this now before I forget. So try to figure out how I want to approach this topic, or I should say the topic leading up to the topic. Um, this is for my tech and cybersecurity folks. Um, let's let's figure out let's figure out the whole drama with with boot camps. let's figure out let's figure out the issue, right? And for my gamer folk, um, I'm gonna come back to y'all in a second, but Um, for my tech folks, what what is the biggest problem you have um, with boot camps? Y'all still there? Let me know in the chat what is the biggest issue y'all have with boot camps. And I know for folks who are in my Discord, we touched on it a little um, earlier, but uh, what is the issue with boot camps? My gamers, don't leave just yet. Don't leave just yet. Um, but I just want to ask about that, right? So one of the issues that people have when it comes to boot camps is that um, there you go, over promises and uh, unrealistic money off the jump. Boot camps are crash courses not meant for newbies. And natural grappler, you actually both of y'all are right. PBO, Professor Black Ops, and Natural Grappler. Um, I won't say they're not meant for newbies. I will say boot camps are meant to be supplemental and not primary. Boot camps are meant to be supplemental and not primary. So when I say that, let me break it down. Too many people are looking at boot camps as an alternative to learning for themselves. They're using boot camps as a replacement to actually doing the studying and the research um, that's necessary on any topic. And it's not just tech and cybersecurity. I mean, if you're interested in game design, they have boot camps around that too. But the boot camps are expected to help supplement things that you already learned. So, case in point, when I'll give you two examples using me personally. When I when I discovered ethical hacking and I wanted to get into ethical hacking, signed up for a boot camp. I signed up for the boot camp about 3-4 months ahead of time. And in that 3-4 months that I had leading up to the boot camp, I did my research. I built my own labs. I read and watched videos online. I bought books. I downloaded ebooks, and I read up on a lot of stuff. And then when I got to the boot camp, I already had a basic understanding of a lot of the topics and things that were being taught in the boot camp. So it helped me. The boot camp helped build what I had already started. Another example, when I was going for my CISSP, um, I read both of those thick books for the CISSP, the ISC squared book, and then also the book that had like the practice exams and stuff. I read both of those books cover to cover. I downloaded the CISSP Sunflower. I I went on Cybrary, I believe, and I took the Cybrary free. Cybrary had a free course for the CISSP. I did that, and even with all of that, I still didn't feel prepared to take the exam. So I had a free voucher, and I took a CISSP boot camp. And basically, I went through that boot camp to reinforce the things that I already knew, but I used that as an opportunity to talk to the instructor on the topics that I knew I was struggling with, on the domains I was struggling with, so that this way I would walk out of it with a better understanding. When I did take my exam, I was okay. So boot camps are meant to be supplemental and not primary. I think over the course of the last few years, especially with the pandemic and then everybody running to figure out the fastest way to get a job in cybersecurity and to get six figures, and I'm going to be very careful to not name names or put anybody on blast because I'm really trying to change that approach. I feel like they may be whatever, they may be misguided, they may be misinformed, or they may be doing this intentionally. Either way, it's not my concern. My job is to try to teach you using my examples, the right, what I think and believe are the right way to do things. It'll eventually catch up to them and those who continue to promote it. Um, you know, I, you can do but so much. So anyway, um, over the pandemic, it got really popular and really sexy to just grab certifications and be taught the test, and then you had people who literally had one foot in the door, like they weren't even established in tech or cybersecurity, and all of a sudden they were developing boot camps and courses and stuff like that, um, to make a quick buck. You literally had people who weren't in cybersecurity at all creating courses on how to get into cybersecurity, and it's still happening to this day. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll know, over the weekend, an individual offered, well, not offered, an individual, no, no, an individual offered his followers to pay them $2,000 to to study, right? Not to get a certification, but to study for an exam, um, learn study habits, work on a schedule that was custom to their needs, and all of that. Um, and it caused a lot of issues. And I spoke on it. And again, like I said, I didn't speak on it to bash anybody or to do anything negative. It was just to call out certain things where you have people who, again, just a few months ago weren't in this field or aren't in this field, telling people or are using their platform to misguide people, and there's always an exorbitant dollar amount behind it, um, especially when it's resources that you can do for free or cheap. Um, and normally that wouldn't bother me because people scam all the time, right? And my thing is, there are some people who, you know, need that guidance to be told differently. And then you have some who, probably know better, but they want to live the dream, right? They want to believe that they can get six figures in 45 days or six figures in 6 months or whatever the magic number is right now. It's the number is always changing. I've heard a year, I've heard 6 months, I've heard 45 days, I've heard whatever. I've seen people get certified in things that were advanced exams and then don't figure out why they can't get a job. I've seen people who are entry level and are either told or even have tried to go get the CISSP. Um, but anyway, like I said, normally it's kind of like, all right, whatever. But I feel like in this economy, with all the layoffs and people really hurting, I think it's very malicious to ask people who may be trying to learn new skills or or you know reinforce skills that they already have, to ask them for a crazy dollar amount for something that, when they may not have the money. Yeah, like I said, you have people who were laid off. I was laid off. So that bothered me. But before any of that, I wanted to think of a program. I wanted to come up with a program that I could do to help people who may be interested in, some of the things that I do as a pen tester or working in cybersecurity or application security. And I struggled. Well, I didn't struggle. I worked really hard to find a lot of resources online that people could use, and help them through that. So, like I said, call it what you want, but my goal is to create a new series of training that can kind of take you on this journey to learn application security. So that's what I'm calling the AppSec rabbit hole. So Operation AppSec rabbit hole is just a series of trainings and classes and courses and streams that we will do together. Excuse me, um, to help everybody learn about application security. So we'll talk about web application, mobile application, cloud, and we'll probably even will obviously some API stuff, and then we'll probably even delve into some artificial intelligence as well. So, if you don't know what application security is exactly what it says. It's literally the security of all applications, from the coding, from the development phase, all the way to production. And again, this is things that we touch every single day: mobile apps, web apps, uh, cloud. I mean, if you fly a drone, if you drive a car, um, application application security is involved in all of that. So this guide or this series of courses is developed to, like I said, teach you from the ground up. So we're going to start from um, literally basic web. Like we're gonna go into HTML. We're gonna go into JavaScript. We're gonna go into um, just all the basics, and then we'll get into how to secure them, and then we'll go into how to attack them. And the goal of this is, by the time you're done, you'll have a better understanding of application security, and you'll have the foundational knowledge that's needed to go for a or a certification in web application security, web application hacking, or if you even want to go ahead and become a bug bounty hunter and go the independent route. Um, and I'm not doing this to step on um, I'm not doing this to step on anybody's toes. As a matter of fact, shout out to Nahamsek. I know he just started something. I will probably even include that in his videos into my stuff, because at the end of the day, we all have a common goal of just teaching better security. And I think that is something that is crucial, and I think that's a skill that's going to be needed in the future. Like, application security is a critical skill to learn right now. Um, and with the economy and the job market the way that it is right now, people are going to need to start learning niche topics. So when I say niche topics, think of it's like a subject. It's like a subsection of cybersecurity. So you have cybersecurity, then you have offensive security, defensive security, but then you go into offensive security, and now you might have penetration testing. Now penetration testing is a subsection. Now you get into application penetration testing. That's another subsection, and then application security and all of that. That's another subsection in itself, where you're talking about cloud and APIs and things like that. Um, hey, dancing girl. I appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, this is something that I've been working on. I've been talking about for a while. Ty, I don't necessarily want to take over the world. I just, like I said, I'm on my Tupac, right? I may not change the world, but I may spark the brain that will. That's how I feel. I feel like trying to take over the world, that's just too much responsibility, and I'm a father and a husband first, so that's my world. I don't I'm not focused on taking over anything else. I don't want to take anything by force. I don't want no problems. Right. um so um so I'm gonna just share some of the stuff that we're gonna do shortly, so you can see that it is a very robust list. But I know one thing that everybody is probably talking and they're asking questions, or um, probably got the side eye when I'm saying this stuff, is cost. So when let me know in the chat what you think I would something like this should be charged for, right? I'll tell you right now, it is not $2,000. It's not $1,000. I'm not gonna. I don't feel comfortable. I don't ever feel comfortable in doing that. And this is with almost 20 years in the game. Um, so I can give. So those are my hints. It will not be 1,000 or $2,000. Um, so go ahead. What do you think if somebody else was talking about this? What they would charge for what I'm talking about? And I'm doing this on purpose because I want you to see exactly what I'm including in this rabbit hole that we're about to jump down. No guesses, nothing. Going once, going twice, anything, nothing, something. 18. I just told you I wasn't gonna charge like 1,000 or $2,000. So you're off rip. That's the wrong answer. Because 1,800. No, I wouldn't charge 1,800. I'm not gonna charge 1,800. All right. So I'm at 250. Come on, anybody got any guesses? It depends on the topics, but I can see people paying 350 for an individual. That's again that's fair. Um, and y'all gonna look at me like I'm crazy, but I'm not charging anything. Or let me rephrase. I'm not charging anything. I'm leaving it up to you. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a pay what you can or pay what you want model. Um, I was inspired by this by again I give credit and give flowers where they are due so that no one can sit there and say that I'm trying to steal anybody's ideas. Um, John Strand and Black Hills, um, they they occasionally do like a pay what you can, pay what you want. Mastermind IO, um, he does a lot of stuff with Python on Twitch. He was actually a guest of mine on InfoSec Unplugged, and he has a pay what you want. And I was always I've always respected and inspired that even in the times where people desperately, people definitely need money. Obviously, money is how we pay the bills. Money is how we feed ourselves and feed our families. But to see people who have enough compassion for others to be able to say, you know what, I'm willing to do this for whatever you can, and if whatever you can is nothing at all, then so be it. I've always been inspired by that, and yeah. So, and when we were coming up with the idea for this for Operation AppSec Rabbit Hole, um, we thought about it, and I'll just be honest with you. I Maybe it makes me a poor business person, um, but I just did not feel comfortable putting a dollar amount on this, especially when it's things that you can find every day. And that's the whole purpose of this thing is to show you how you can find these resources. In fact, the resources are very familiar to what people do anyway. So I'll just give you a quick rundown. Give me 1 second here. Um, so what we're doing is we're going to learn the basics of Linux. No, I appreciate that, dancing girl. Again, it's just how just how I see it. But so you will we'll cover basic Linux, basic Python, JavaScript. We'll go into HTML, CSS, Java, Python. We'll go into a little bit of DNS because it's always DNS. And then we'll go into basic web security. We might mess around with a little bit of Wireshark. We'll learn about the basics of Burp Suite. We'll learn the basics of hacking, and then we'll get into some advanced stuff. And this is where we'll start doing some looking at bug bounty platforms. So we'll look at HackerOne. We'll look at BugCrowd. We'll look at Integrity. We'll look at some that people don't even know about. And then we'll talk about some basic API hacking, and we'll look at the cloud and mobile as well. And depending on how long this takes, then we may even jump into the world of AI. But if you look, we are looking at a lot of resources that are already that are already out there. So we're going to look at Linux fundamentals 1, 2, and 3 on TryHackMe. We're going to look at web basics. So we're going to use TryHackMe for a lot of this stuff. So if you have TryHackMe, be sure to go ahead and look at that. We're Professor Black Ops. We're going to be on. We're going to TryHackMe, but we're going to stream it and work on it together. But there's a lot of TryHackMe stuff here. So we have all these rooms here, and then we'll get into the web app. Now, what if you look here, you see stars. These are paid rooms, but I don't want you to get discouraged on the pay rooms, right? Because again, if I'm gonna try to do it for free, I want the rooms to be free. So for the ones that are paid rooms, if you have a paid TryHackMe subscription, then great. If not, we may, as we go through it, I may give out some vouchers to get like a 1 month trial or 3 month trial or whatever of TryHackMe Professional. But if that doesn't work, we also are going to do we're also going to build out labs. So I want everybody to have that experience as well of building out their own virtual lab and doing that. And now we'll go into advanced web app stuff. So we'll do the web security. We'll look at Web Security Academy. I'll actually take this out because they asked that they do not that I do not stream that. So don't worry about it. But we'll have Hacking Hub IO, Web Security Academy, and then again we're going back into some hacking stuff. And then for the API stuff, we'll look at other courses. We'll look at my own course that I'm doing. That I've done with LinkedIn. We'll look at some other platforms. And again, I'm trying to make sure that all of this stuff is free or cheap. Like I said, if I can get some vouchers, I'll do that and help as well. And like I said, you don't have to pay anything. If you choose to, you can pay as low as $5 a session, or if you want to pay more, that's on you. I am totally leaving that up to you. If you have it and you want to, great. All those proceeds will actually go to the center. It's not even helping me directly. It's just kind of helping, continue to keep the lights on. So I guess it is helping me. But it's going to go to helping out, building out what we're doing with Alpha Esports and Technology, and also building out our curriculum. Because eventually we do want to make this into build out our own training platform where people can, our members can join and get this training as well. So if you want to donate anything, you can donate, like I said, as low as $5. You'll most of our streams, you'll see this QR code that you see up here in the corner. That is a link to that QR code goes to our buy me a coffee page. And you can donate what you want. If you're watching this on the Alpha Cybersecurity YouTube channel, you can do super chats and things like that. I would just ask if you were going to do it, just do it on the buy me a coffee thing. Google takes half. so yeah. But like I said, if you can't or you don't want to, that's cool too. My goal is to be the change you want to see, right? That's I've been saying that now for the last few years. I want to be the change that I want to see, and I want people to help people, and I want people who are in this game to kind of help people and stop with the dry gatekeeping. You that's another word that gets used a lot, and you have some that are still legitimate gatekeepers, and then you have some who are just using that word because they just don't agree with things. I've been called a gatekeeper because I told somebody that they should really be working on improving their skill set so that they can advance in their career. So anyway, yeah, like I said, I want to be the change that I want to see. I don't want to. I don't feel. I don't feel in my heart that it's right to help people. Not help. Not. I shouldn't say that. I don't feel in my heart that it's right to take advantage of people. I don't want. You know, I'm sick of seeing people charge thousands of dollars for for nothing, right? There's no return on investment. There's no there's nothing tangible that they can get from it, and they can't even give them real world advice because they're not in the field. So what I want to do is create this. It's curated to find as many free resources as possible to help you train on your own time, on your own dime, and you can learn the skills. And the return on investment is you're getting taught by someone who has had 17 years in the game and can give you that real world experience, like that's missing. A lot of people get into these trainings, going back to the boot camp thing. A lot of people get into these trainings and do the trainings, but they don't really know what's real versus what's in the book. So anyway, that's my spiel. So AppSec Rabbit Hole, we'll be launching that. We'll be also launching that this month. Stay tuned for the exact date. Jonathan says, I missed your workshop. Are you hosting another one again? Yeah, we'll be doing another. We'll be doing another introduction to ethical hacking workshop in sometime in April. Now that one, I am charging for. That one is probably going to be somewhere around 85 to $100, but it's 4 hours. Like we go into a deep dive into ethical hacking, and like I said, that's so yeah that workshop's going to be. I think, like I said, probably going to be like the middle to the end of April. All right, so that is my spiel. So, what questions is the cyber industry holds back the cyber community more than anything else? No one willing to train, no entry level position, thousands of people in search of skills that aren't experienced enough. So, I'm definitely looking forward to yours. Now, I appreciate that. Was that Big Set 6? I appreciate that. I agree. I agree and respectfully disagree on some. So, yes, the cyber industry does hold back the community, but I think that's just because you have people who are saying the wrong things, but because they have the bigger voice, that's what gets heard. If that makes sense. You have people with platforms who are saying the negative thing, and that's what gets the attention. It's almost like everything else, right? You never really you hear very minimal when it's something good. When it's something bad, it blows up. So you have these people with very large platforms, with a lot of quote unquote clout, and they are the voices that get heard. They are the voices that the people are listening to and the people believe. And then when you have other folks who are trying to tell them, no, that's not how you do it, God forbid you disagree with them. Now all of a sudden you're the villain, you're the bad guy, you're the clout chaser, you're the gatekeeper. And it turns into this thing, and eventually the larger voice, or the person with the larger following, wins. And I think that's what's happening in the cyber community. Too many people with the large followings that are doing things the right way aren't speaking up because they're kind of just like, screw it, we're over here doing our own thing. And then you have people who are doing the wrong thing. Those are the voices that are getting heard because they have podcasts or shows or whatever. And I know it's crazy because I also have a show and I also have a podcast, but I'm also one of the people that are in that I guess, lower voice tier, um, which is crazy to me, but it is what it is. Um, so you do have a lot of people willing to train and help people, but because they aren't on the same bandwagon of, oh, I can teach you this in this microwave economy, right? That's the issue. If I tell people if I tell people I can get you trained and certified and get you a good paying job in, I don't know, let's call it 18 months, and then the next person says I can get you six figures in 6 months, they're gonna go that way. Now the 18 months, that's just me doing a rough estimate. It's probably shorter than 18 months, but I know in that 18 months I'm gonna teach you how to do it the right way. I'm gonna help you craft your resume the right way. I'm gonna help you learn the real skills. But they look at it like 18 months is so long when someone else is telling me I can get it in 6 months, or I can get it in 45 days or whatever. So, people want fast. So it's not so much the cybersecurity community's problem as much as it is the people who, want it immediately. They don't want to know about all the hard work. They don't want to hear about doing the hard work. They want to know about how can I pass this test to get this job. And then to your point with the no entry level positions, there are entry level positions. It depends on what role you're looking for. I think one thing that doesn't get enough attention, or again, because we live in a world of, you know status, is there's so many jobs. There are jobs out there, but because they're not the sexy jobs, they get overlooked. For example, if you have no tech experience, go get a job in help desk. Go get a job in help desk. There's a lot of transferable skills in help desk that can help you move on. And I don't understand where people will literally say, I'm not going to take this job because that's not what I want to do, but you don't have anything starting out. You're looking to get that experience. You're looking to get that equity into your resume. Um, so there are entry level jobs. There's entry level SOC jobs. There's entry level security help desk type roles. There's entry level pen testing roles. You just have to kind of look for them. But there is there's a lot that comes with it, especially in the pen testing role. I'm gonna be honest with you. Entry level pen testing roles are tough because those are usually the roles that you're going to work at a consultancy, and they're going to run you through the ringer. That's when you hear about the quote unquote pen test puppy mills. That's what a lot of the entry level pen testing roles are. Is you're grinding. You're on assessment after assessment, week after week, or every 2 weeks, what have you. You're going to do all the assessments. You're going to do the report writing. You're going to do all of it. You're going to be grinding. So it just depends on what you're looking for. Let's see. Thousands of people with certs and skills that aren't experienced enough. I agree with you 100%. And like I said, I blame that on all the misinformation that was going out during COVID, as well as the people on LinkedIn who were selling brain dumps in their people's DMs. How much do you charge for consultations or mentorship? I've been in IT technical support for over 8 years and have been studying cloud and cyber for about 2. Um, mentorship mentorship is free. Coaching is paid. So mentorship, when I say mentorship is free, that's, spending, 30, 45 minutes to kind of just go over some stuff and, accountability and, help point you in the right direction. I don't charge for that. Um, Coaching is where we're getting into the weeds. We're developing a plan. We're doing labs together. We're doing walkthroughs. I'm there explaining that. But even that, I don't charge too much. I probably don't charge what I should or what I could based on my experience. Um, I've seen people charge I've seen people charge $50. I've seen people charge 65. I've seen people charge $125. I'm usually somewhere between $50 and $75, depending on the topic. Um, and that's like for an hour session. So that's an hour. Then if you do it, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, that's up to you on the cadence. Um, it truly depends on what you're teaching and what you're coaching. Entry level GRC policies, procedures, NIST, HIPAA, FISMA, etc. Um, did I miss? Oh, what platform are you using? Is that what you're saying? What platform am I using for training? Um, is there a link that you can use to sign up for it? No, but if you shoot me an email to information, let me just throw it in here. I'll just put it in the chat. So if you um, so this is the part where I get to plug myself, I guess. So if you shoot me an email at information at alphaesportstech.com, or you make sure you're following me on social media, I will give the exact date of when we're going to start that program. Again, it's going to be it's going to be when I can get that in there. I'm shooting to do right now. I'm aiming for Wednesday, like Wednesday evenings, and like I said, we'll probably be on for like an hour or two. So if you saw the if you saw the list, like I said, we're gonna be there for a while. What's going on, L Style? Welcome. We are figuring stuff out together today. So let me know what you're excited for the weekend. Let me know what you're trying to figure out. And if you have any questions for me, they could be gaming, it could be tech, it could be cybersecurity. Just keep it clean and keep it respectful. But yeah, like I said, shoot me an email. All right, no problem. So yeah, like I said, we're gonna go through that, and like I said, I will go on my little tangents and explain certain things or give you examples. But like I said, my goal is to give you actionable items you can work on. So, for example, we'll go through when we're learning Linux, we'll probably go through the Linux stuff, and then we'll go check out a VM or a site where we can put that to the test. I'm thinking, you know, obviously I have my partnership with Haiku. I have and I have some other stuff. I haven't decided which platform I'm going to use yet, but like I said, whatever it is, I'm hoping that it'll be helpful. Struggle security, what's going on? Let me know what you know. Struggle security. So here's the rules. Let me know what you're excited for the weekend. Let me know. Let me know what you're trying to figure out. And if you have any questions for me, leave them in the chat. Just keep it clean, keep it respectful. All right. So, like I said, so we are figuring stuff out. We just talked about, like I said, we just talked about the AppSec rabbit hole. So I wanted to make sure I spoke about that. Um, so for those who are just tuning in, the AppSec rabbit hole is a list of resources and things that we're going to do over the course of the next few months to learn the basics of application security. We'll get into some advanced topics like API and some cloud stuff, and we might even jump into some AI. I don't know yet. Well, it all depends on how this goes, and we are going to do it for the super low price of pay what you can or pay what you want. So, like I said, every week we'll be on stream. I'll have a link or this QR code that you see here to my buy me a coffee, and you can pay as low as $5, or you can pay as low as nothing at all. It's totally up to you. Anything that you do will support the stream as well as support my center here in Suwanee, Georgia. And yeah, we'll keep you posted. So so now my cyber folks, like I said, I hope that helped y'all. If y'all have any questions, be sure to do that. But I'm gonna jump back to my gaming, my gaming folks. I don't want to leave them too left out there too long. But you said excited for sleep and figuring out life, and not excited for working with people at the job. Um, how Ty asks, how do you not downplay your skills? Okay. Um, Here's my rule when talking to companies for potential jobs, partnerships, sponsorships, whatever the case may be. Talk heavy. All right. Now, lucky I don't have my stream deck set up, but talk heavy, but talk honest. All right. Talk heavy. I'm gonna put this in the. I'm gonna put it and I'm gonna put it in caps. Talk heavy, but talk honest. Talk honestly. Right. Let's do proper English. Right. Talk heavy. You earned the right to be to talk about what you talk about. Right. Especially when it comes to your job. So if you're looking for another job or you're talking to somebody and you're trying to prove to them why they should invest in you or why they should hire you or why they should partner with you, talk no, talk that talk. Just be honest, right? Like when I go if I go into a room and someone is and I'm not saying it's not flexing or is not bragging. You've earned that right. So when I think back to a time when I first started blog writing my blogs, and somebody left in the comments, "What makes you qualified to speak on this topic?" And I remember feeling like, what movie was that? Oh man, the Five Heartbeats. Every night I gotta fight for my love. Like that's how I felt because every time I posted something, I felt like somebody was questioning me, and I felt like I needed to fight to justify my existence in this space. And that time I had enough, and I literally listed everything that I've done, all my certifications, past and present, right? So ones that I got that were expired, ones that I got that are still current, and I listed all. I think at that time it was something like 28. I listed all of them. I listed my accolades. I've listed some of the things that I've done that I'm allowed to talk about. So yeah, no, talk heavy. You earned it. When you go in, when I go into these rooms, I tell them, no, I have 17 years of tech experience. I have 17 years of tech experience. More than half of that has been dedicated to the cybersecurity field. I have worked for several different companies, and I have successfully exploited or hacked several different platforms, from the government to school systems to hospitals and medical facilities. I've hacked a crypto app. I've hacked, so uh, I'm a LinkedIn learning instructor. I'm a teacher on the side. No, talk heavy. Just be honest. Whatever you put out there, make sure it's something that they can get back to determine the truthfulness of your statement. Because the last thing you want to do is lie. Like you don't want to be that person who's like, oh, I put, I have 7 years of experience, and when they do their background check, they realize that 7 years isn't indeed 7 years of experience in that field. You just might actually have 7 years of working experience. So talk heavy, just talk honest. Let's see. Yes, Professor Black Ops. Show them you were great. That talk honest is real. I've recently interviewed for some organizations. I highlighted my strengths and weaknesses. I told them where I believed I needed coaching and guidance. They said they appreciated that and want to move forward in the interview process. Struggle security, spot on, spot on. So I'm gonna give you Alex's story. Um, if you can identify your weaknesses first, they can never use it against you. If you can identify, if you are honest enough with yourself to identify your weaknesses first, no one can use it against you. Two stories. When I was working in the school system, um, I remember sitting there one day going, if they were to come in tomorrow and say, we need to lay people off, who would be the first person they would look at? And I immediately thought of me. And it wasn't that I felt like they were better than me, but they had more credentials than me. They were college educated. They had more. They had more years of experience. Um, there were plenty of other factors. So I said, okay, how do I close the gap and make that decision even more difficult? I still felt like if it came down to it, it still would have been me. But my thought process was, I'm going to make this. I'm going to make this decision the hardest decision you have to make. So I went and said, okay, what certifications do I need to get? What do I need to work on personally, professionally, at work? What do I need to do? And I made a concerted effort to work on all of that. And I remember going in for my review maybe about 4 months later, and the director of technology looked at me and was like, "Yeah, you know what's crazy is I was writing some things down a while back, and it was almost like as I wrote them down the very next day, I started seeing that you were already improving on it." And I was like, "Yeah, because I I would literally look in the mirror at one when I decided I was gonna really take this tech and cybersecurity thing seriously. Like I literally looked in the mirror and just told myself like where I sucked, and I was very harsh with myself. Like you effing suck. This is where you effing suck, right? But this way I did that because if I'm able to do that, no one else can beat me. But no one else can beat me to it because you know when you're not at your best. So that's the first story. The second story is I was interviewing for a role, and they asked me a question about I forgot what it was, some policy or something, and I did not know the answer to the question. We finished up the interview, and when we finished up the interview, I googled the question and got the answer to the question. And then when I sent my follow up email, which by the way, you need to be sending your follow up emails. Um, when I sent my follow up email, it was like, thank you for the opportunity. I would like to learn more about the company. I'm hoping that I would move on to the next round, yada, yada, yada. Sincerely, blah, blah, blah. P.S. Um, to answer your question that you asked during our interview, it was XYZ, and this is how I would approach it, and this is how I would deal with it. And the next day, I got a call and it was the hiring manager saying that literally set me over the edge to be considered for the next interview. And they were like, we don't expect you to know the answers to every question, but we expect you to know how to get the answer. And the fact that you took the time to find the answer to that question and then give us the answer, that showed us that you're serious about what it is you're talking about. So yes, be honest. Be honest with them. Talk heavy. Talk honest. Talk heavy, but talk honest. So Ty says, I know my knowledge, but I am hard when I make mistakes. It makes me feel like I'm not good enough. I'm working to shake them off. If you're not making mistakes, you're not trying. If That's how I look at it. If you are not making mistakes, you are not trying. I teach the lesson one thing I tell my kids, and I say that as a parent and as a coach or a teacher or a mentor or whatever. It is not how you mess up; it's how you recover. If you're trying to do something, and whether you're trying to do something or not, everybody's gonna mess up. No one's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. It's how you learn from that and how you apply that to avoid the messing up the second time. Cybersecurity is no different. You're not going to pop every shell. You're not going to find every vulnerability on every single pen test. You're not going to. It is practically impossible. Unless you are on a red team engagement that has no timetable, you are not going to find every single one. A pen test is just a snapshot in time. I repeat, a penetration test is just a snapshot in time. You have 2 weeks, no, you have 1 week, sometimes 2 weeks, and in that, and that's for the whole that's for the whole test. That's go through the whole thing, recon, vulnerability scanning, exploitation analysis, all of that, post exploitation, the whole thing, and then you have to start that report. So sometimes you might have 1 week of testing and 1 week of reporting, or you might have 2 weeks of testing and 1 week of reporting. But that's not enough time to find every single vulnerability. And even if you do find every single vulnerability, you are not going to find the successful exploit for all of them. Why? Because time constraints, and two, the scope and rules of engagement might not allow you to do that exploit because that exploit may cause a denial of service condition, which may take that company's network down. and they don't want to do that. And time equals money, and especially in the business world, time equals money. So you are not going to hack all the things. You are not, all right. Half the time, when you're on an engagement, you might be working with a company for a month, and the pen test is actually a week. But those first 3 weeks is literally just red tape. So you can't do that. You're gonna make mistakes. You're not gonna get it right. Personal, me personally, like it took me forever to figure out server side request forgery. To this day, I hate server side request forgery, but it's something that I've made. I've it's just something that I struggled with. You're not gonna know all the things, but you still. That doesn't mean you stop trying. That doesn't mean that you don't you turn your back on it, especially if it's something that you truly want to do. If you can turn around and turn your back on it that easily, then maybe you really don't want to do it, and you might want to reevaluate that. But the whole thing with pen testing, or the whole thing with ethical hacking, is what does it mean to be a hacker? In its most basic form, a hacker is someone who looks at things and tries to find ways to make things work in a way that it wasn't naturally intended to do. So you're gonna tinker, you're gonna fuzz, you're gonna mess around with things, you're gonna hit walls, you're gonna fall down rabbit holes and get lost. You're going to fail. It's what you do with that to build on it. All right. Question. I'm looking to lean towards the blue team side of cybersecurity. So with that in mind, would it be better off with TryHackMe or Haiku? L style. I would say TryHackMe has a lot more stuff that's available right now. Haiku is still relatively new, um, and they are working on certain things. But if it just bang for your buck right now, I would definitely look at Try Hack Me, especially since they just announced their DevSecOps pathway. So yeah, I would definitely check out Try Hack Me. Struggle security. I forgot to shut down my Cobalt Strike beacons on machines that I compromised during an internal pen test. They're probably still running today. Big mistake, but I learned. Yep, yep. I mean, we've all made different mistakes. Shoot, I well, that one wasn't my fault. But yeah, people make there's a lot of different mistakes that you learn, and again, you learn from it. It's not how you mess up, it's how you recover. Like for example, I know for a fact now that I will never test in prod again, and that wasn't a mistake. That was me not standing firm enough. So the backstory with that is there was a language issue, and I was doing a web app pen test, and I asked for regular user credentials and I asked for admin user credentials. And when we were doing the initial walkthrough, the developer or whoever it was said, "Yeah, so this is root. This is root credentials." And I was like, "I don't need root. I need I just need admin." He was like, "Yeah, root." I'm like, "No, admin." He was like, "Yeah, root." And I remember immediately texting my supervisor going, "I do not feel comfortable about this pen test." But I was told, "No, maybe it's just a language issue, so you'll be fine." I said, "Okay." And then I remember asking, "All right, well, this is in staging, right? Or it's not prod." And they're like, "No, you can only test in prod." I was like, "I don't want to test in prod." They're like, "Nope, this you have to test in prod." So I said, "Okay, fine." So day of the test, I start doing my manual mapping of the application. So this is where I'm clicking all the links and using Burp Suite to capture all of those clicks and everything, so that I can go into fuzzing later. And how my methodology worked back then, I was clicking all the links, and once I clicked all the links and I manually mapped the website, then I would use the burp um, burp to spider the website. So I'm manually clicking, manually clicking, manually clicking, manually. Like I said, I go through maybe about an hour of just manually clicking everything, and then I go, okay, I run the burp spider. When I run the burp spider the first time, I noticed that the website kind of seized up. So I immediately stopped the spider and I waited for like, I don't know, it felt like 20 minutes because I was waiting to see if anybody was going to scream. I was waiting to see if anybody was going to call me, oh my gosh, what's going on? Blah, 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 blah. So I waited and waited and waited and waited. And then eventually I didn't hear anything. So I said, okay, coast must be clear. Let's run the spider again. I ran the spider the second time, and at the same point, it seized up. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it just hit like a bump. Let me give it an extra minute or so. I let it go a little bit more, let it go a little bit more, and then burp just kind of. So I was like, okay, let me stop. And then that's when I got the phone calls like, what are you doing? The website went down, blah, 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 blah. Get on this triage call. It was a nightmare. And at that time, we get on a call, and the person who gave me the stuff, who gave me access, was like, well, he asked for root privileges. And I'm like, I didn't ask for root, I asked for admin. Like basically throwing me under the bus. And that's when I learned that Burp had a setting that allowed you to follow the links. So while it was spidering, it was clicking the links and then following the link, like following the link that it clicked to then go on. And you could at the time you could turn that option on or off. I had it on, and I should have turned it off. But this caused the whole application to turn, to shut down. This is a payment application. And when they start doing their triaging and they start trying to figure out the quantitative and quality, the quantitative damages, they broke it down to, it was down, the app was down for 26 minutes, and that equated to something like $1 million or something like that. So, or it wasn't a million, but it was very close. It was like high in the hundreds of thousands, like close to $1 million. So obviously now they want heads to roll, and my head is on the chopping block. We go through like a week of different calls and meetings, and eventually it was like the very last call we were on, where they realized that the dude was in the wrong, because obviously I kept everything in writing. So I had screenshots of our conversations. I had a copy of the scope and rules of engagement. I screenshotted when I sent the message to my boss explaining what was going on and why I did not feel comfortable going with the pen test. And I had the screenshot of my boss telling me it's okay, just proceed. So, but like I said, I learned a valuable lesson. So now when I do my web app stuff, I'm like, what environment are we testing in? I will not test in prod. And if I do test in prod, you need to make sure you have some type of waiver or some type of CYA document, cover your ass, that explains the possibility of it being taken down, and it is not my fault if that happens. And now I also know how to configure my burp settings doing that moving forward. So again, we all make mistakes. Just what you do to learn from it. Now, if I, you know what I'm saying? Now, if I were to go on my very next pen test and do the same thing all over again, like test in prod and do all of that, and then obviously I didn't learn it. So yeah, there's so many automated testing tools that can overload systems. Until we use or test them, we don't really know. I had something similar happen with CrackMap Exec SQL Map. Oh yeah, CrackMap Exec is another one. CrackMap. Yeah, they definitely are loud. But again, these are things that come with time. Like I tell people, I tell my mentees, or I tell my students, my goal is to demystify the aura around cybersecurity. My goal is to teach you that it's not It's not linear. It's not one way. It's not cut, and everything is not cut and dry and written in stone. Um, there's no one set way to do anything. My methodology may be different than someone else's methodology. All you need to know is that you're following the the standards of a penetration testing assessment, right? So when I say the standards, I mean the five phases: the reconnaissance and enumeration, the scanning and analysis, the exploitation, the post exploitation, and the report writing. And if you want to get more granular, the pre-engagement phase. This is where you're explaining the scopes and rules of engagement of everything. This is where you want six, five or six, depending on what you're doing. As long as you are following those five or six phases of penetration test, the methodology is truly up to you. There are some things that we all have in common, and there are some things that we all may do different. For example, using the web app example I just used, I make sure I manually map the entire application, depending on the size. I manually map the entire application before I do any automated tools, before I run any scans, before I run any SAS or DAS, anything. I go ahead and I manually catalog the entire application. If certain applications, I not only do I manually do that, I create a mind map in my head, or not in my head. I draw a diagram that shows what happens for each click because I'm a visual learner. So, for example, when I had to test a crypto app, I went through I created mind maps for what happens, every step when you create an account, and it was like literally those same mind maps where it's like, did it work? Yes or no? And if it was yes, it went this way, and if it was no, it went this way. Um, but anyway, I manually cataloged the entire app. Hey, Tagora, how you doing? So we are doing this is figure it out. So let me know. Let me know in the chat what you're excited for the weekend. What are you trying to figure out? And if you have any questions for me, leave it in the chat. Just keep it clean, keep it respectful. Um, so go ahead, and like I said, I'll be sure to answer every question before I go off stream today. So anyway, that's my methodology. I manually click everything I can first, and then when I'm done, then I might try to do some automated testing. And while I'm doing automated testing, now I'm looking at my notes. What input boxes were there? What links were there? Were there any interesting links that showed up, or any redirects interesting redirects that showed up when I invert them? So now while the automated thing is going, now I'm already starting to do some manual fuzzing. I'm looking to see if there's any, are they calling any APIs? What if there's a redirect? What is it redirecting to? Is it looking for certain things? What's happening what's happening in the request and response boxes, right? So what kind of request is it sending? Is it sending a GET request? Okay, can I try? Let me run an options, see what other requests I can send. What's happening in the responses? What are the status codes? Are they just getting a generic 200 across the board, or are they actually giving actual status codes for what's going on? What are the messages that are happening in those responses? Are you giving me verbose error messages? So these are things that, like, this is typically my methodology when I'm doing that. I know some people who just kind of come out the gate swinging, and if they see something, they try to test it and fuzz it right there, right? They go on a website and they log in and they throw a tick in the thing, and it comes back with I'm just going to test for SQL injection right here. Or they see an input box, I'm just going to start fuzzing to see this box right here. I'm going to start doing some type of command injection or stuff like that to see if it's vulnerable before I throw some cross-site scripting at it. So everybody's methodology is different, but the foundation is the same. We are still following the same phases of the penetration testing assessment, and we may use some of the similar tools. Like, everybody's going to use Nmap at some point or another. If it's a web application, some people may use Nick2, some people may not. It just depends. Have you ever done blue team, like IR, vulnerability management, or malware analysis? So Funny thing, I actually love uh, digital forensics. My goal, or my career trajectory at first was I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn pen testing, but I wanted to learn pen testing because I felt that would make me a better forensic, the digital forensics professional. Just like how when I decided I wanted to do pen testing, I stayed in IT for like another year because I wanted to basically understand how to navigate an Active Directory environment because I felt like that would make me a better pen tester. Before Active Directory pen testing was a thing, I wanted to be able to navigate a Windows operating system or Active Directory, like the back of my hand, so that it would make me a better pen tester when I had to test Windows environments because I knew my Windows pen testing wasn't as strong as my Linux pen testing. So anyway, I went through this digital forensics course. I absolutely loved the course. Um, Even the capstone project to get the certification. So how the certification went, you had to do like I don't know, it's like 100 question test or something like that. Maybe it wasn't 100, it was less than 100. I don't know. Let's call it 75. It was like a 75 question test, and if you passed that, you were then given the hands-on assessment. And what the hands-on assessment was is you were simulating that you were a forensics consultant on a case, and you had to determine whether or not the suspect indeed committed the crime. So they gave you an image of the hard drive, and you needed to catalog everything like you were really doing a case. So you had to make sure you didn't break chain of custody. You had to log everything. You had to go through the whole process, and then at the end of it, you had to write up the report with screenshots and receipts of everything and submit that. And then after a week, the board would review it and determine whether or not you passed. I absolutely freaking loved that course. And then I was living in Connecticut at the time, and the New England area, how that worked. If you wanted to do forensics, you had to work in law enforcement or you had to work for the FBI. I wasn't working. I was past my prime of doing any more boot camps, so I wasn't going to no police academy to do that, and I wasn't going to work for the FBI because the pay wasn't as good as what I was making as a pen tester. So yeah, I kind of let that go. And now I'm starting to explore it again, just because again, that's just something I love the idea of doing digital forensics and putting myself in the shoes of the cyber quote unquote criminal, um, and trying to figure out their thought process and finding what they think can't be found. So I love digital forensics. Um, if I could, if there was a digital forensics where I didn't have to like start from ground zero again, I probably would do that. I'm not gonna lie. Um, and it's nothing against my pen testing. Like I love pen testing, especially the API stuff. But I love digital forensics. Have you? Let's see. How many punches will you deliver to a CISO with a flat network, no account lock? um, so violence is not the answer. So last day of Black History Month, I'm gonna quote Martin Luther King: "You do not solve violence with violence." But I will. You will probably hear some curse words from me if I hear flat network, no account lockouts, and stuff like that. I've at one point in my career, I was notorious for like literally walking around and just going, "You're an effing moron," especially in like my consultancy days. um, yeah. So believe it or not, one of my first AppSec jobs, I was working at a fintech startup, and they wanted to go. Um, they wanted to get PCI certified in 6 months, and they brought me on because of my work in the PCI space. That's where I started learning about API security. because the CISO or the senior VP didn't know his. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna behave myself. But basically, he brought me on and said, "We want you to be a web app pen tester for this for our application." And I said, "Sure." And when I got there, and day one, I said, "Well, where's the?" I said, what's the URL for the website?" And it was a mobile app. And it was like, okay. And then you run Burp Suite through stuff, and you're not really seeing much. And then I'm like, okay, and I go talk to the developers, and the developers are like, oh yeah, no, you have to get access to the API gateway. I'm like, API gateway? What are you talking about? Whatever. Um, and that's when I realized that it was an application, and it was pretty much like entirely API driven. But anyway, this company wanted to be PCI compliant. I started the job in January, and they wanted to be PCI compliant by the end of June. And amongst many of the problems, they had a flat network. Now, anybody who knows anything about PCI, that you can't have a flat network with PCI. As a matter of fact, how PCI works, you actually have to have multiple segmented networks, because the goal of PCI is to make sure that your cardholder data environment, so this is the environment where your credit card data is held, it cannot be accessed by the regular network. Um, I shouldn't be able to ping. I should not be able to nmap. I should not be able to do anything to the cardholder data environment. So whatever set of IP addresses they have, you are not allowed to access that. It is its own environment, and you can't. You're not supposed to see that on anywhere. Well, they had flat networks, so their cardholder data environment was out and open. PII was all over the place. On top of all the vulnerabilities that they found but never fixed, and this is internally as well as through bug bounty programs as well as third-party pen tests. So I had to fix all of that, and I had to work with them on testing because I'm not a big network person. So I had to basically test it every single time every time they thought that they got the network segmentation right, they would say, "Hey, Davin, can you do a segmentation test?" And I would test it and go, "Nope, I can still see your network." And how PCI segmentation works is if you can run a ping or an nmap scan or whatever, and you can find it, then it's basically you have permission to see what you can get, what information you can get from it. The goal is to be able to scan it, whether it's through nmap or whether it's through ping, and you're not supposed to see it. If you can't see it, they pass. If you do see it, they fail, and then you can get to determine how bad they fail. Let's see. I might want to add, this is a government's chain supply. Oh, okay. General. Okay, that might cause a little bit of violence. A flat network, no lockout policy, everybody is local admin, and it's a government supply, and it's a government chain supply organization. Yeah, no, that yeah, no, I retract my previous statement. I'm not punching. I might Spartan kick people down like that pit that they had. Like, seriously, like, this is not secure, and just boot them dead in their chest. Big set microsegmentation, absolutely. Hi, we want to test your security, but not here or here. Oh yeah, don't yeah, the scope creep is real, especially with government organizations. They definitely will tell you, we want you to do a full test, but we don't want you to do this. We don't want you to do exploitation. We don't want you to do active scanning. We don't want you to do this. And it's like, so essentially you just want me to do a ping scan. And they're like, yeah, that'll work. That's not a pen test. And that's, anyway, if you ever hear of the people that say, when you hear the argument, when they go, vulnerability assessments are not pen tests, I feel like they are talking to government folk, because they are the ones who will try to get you to pass a vulnerability assessment off like it's a penetration test. they are notorious for that. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to get in trouble. By the way, yeah, if you just like I said, I put up an email earlier, information at alphaesportstech.com. If you send me an email, or you can just send me one to my personal Alpha Esports, D Jackson at alphaesportstech.com. So I'll just put that here. What's going on, Kenna? So we are figuring stuff out. So the rules are: what are you excited for the weekend? What are you trying to figure out? It can be personal or professional. And what question you have for me, if any. And I will make sure I want to answer your question. I was just quoting one of the folks. Oh, well, hey, like I said, it is what it is. But if anybody does want to, just let me know. But anyway, yeah, that was yeah, no, that's crazy. Flat network, no lockout, everybody's local admin, and it's a supply chain. they didn't they haven't learned their lesson from, I don't know, any of the most recent hacks where it was like a third party. First one that I mean, the most notorious one that comes to mind is Target, where they got in through what was like an HVAC vendor. All right, so I'm just double checking. I'm just scrolling, making sure I didn't miss any questions because I said I was going to answer all the questions. Let's see, did I discuss everything that I wanted to discuss? I discussed the AppSec rabbit hole. I discussed what I was doing. So quick rundown of stuff that we're doing here at Alpha Esports and Technology. Registrations for our internal esports leagues are back open. We were partnering with another league, and we now are going to do our internal stuff. So if you are interested in joining any of our esports clubs for Apex Legends, Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, Fortnite, Rocket League, let's start with those first. And then I know some of our college folks were asking me about League of Legends. Um, if y'all can find enough people who are interested in League of Legends and where we can run some stuff, feel free to contact me. And then I also have some people who are inquiring about Rainbow Six. So we are open and willing to host clubs for all of these games if everybody is willing to come in, join, and pay the membership. And like I said, we'll discuss that at that time. Let's see. So we have that. Our March Madness tournament. I enjoy Rocket League as well. We are moving into March Madness starting next month. So next week, you'll see in the newsletter the whole list of events that we're going to be doing. So we'll be doing our Friday night event. Our first Friday night event kicks off next Friday, so March the 8th. And then I think the week after that, we'll be doing our gaming and anime night. So we'll be playing some anime, and everybody hanging out Friday night. And then we also still have our tournament series that we're doing every Saturday. So last month we started with Smash Brothers. Now we're gonna add Mario Kart into the mix, and I'm debating whether or not I want to go into like Street Fighter or Tekken or Dragon Ball Fighters, only because, and for my gamers, y'all know, the fighting game community can be very toxic, to say the least. And I'm not sure if I want to start that. But then again, there are a subset of gamers who really enjoy fighting games and want to be able to do it in a safe space and not have to worry about the toxicity of the FGC. So that's why I'm leaning towards doing it. I'm just trying to figure out how to actively filter out the craziness that can be the FGC. Um, and for most of our stuff, we will stream. We're going to start streaming our events. We'll be streaming our Smash Brothers tournaments. We'll be streaming our Mario Kart tournaments because we are not breaking Nintendo's rules. We're not having massive tournaments, and we are not giving out a ton of money, and we are not making profit from it. There's stuff for the venue, and there's stuff to the pop. So we made sure we followed the rules. We wanted to make sure that we got, when we were doing our stuff that way, we weren't going to upset the Nintendo mothership. Um, and then everything else, like I said, we'll be doing some other stuff. And then in April, we're going to jump back into our cybersecurity stuff. So I'll be doing my next introduction to ethical hacking workshop there. We also will be doing, we should be well into our AppSec rabbit hole in April. And I'm also going to be doing, and I think this might be for some of the younger crowd, for the gamers, we're going to be doing a workshop for building your own aim training, but we're going to be using Scratch. So for my keyboard and mouse gamers, everybody wants to use. Everybody's looking at aim training and things to help with their reflexes when they're playing games like Fortnite or Call of Duty if they play with keyboard and mouse, or Valorant or CS:GO. So now we're gonna build out our own using Scratch, which is a basic programming language developed by MIT. So I think that'll be a cool workshop. We'll also be doing an introduction to keyboard and mouse gaming workshop because we do have a lot of console players who still want to play on controller, and I want to show them the differences from keyboard and mouse. Um, we'll also be doing introduction and like like micro workshops on Linux and things like that. And for those courses, I'll probably be using World of Haiku. So if you have a Haiku membership uh, or subscription, you can follow along with that as well. All right. So does anybody have any other questions for me? We've been going now for about almost 2 hours. Um, I'm probably gonna hop off for a little bit and then jump back on and probably do some gaming. Um, but I want to thank y'all for rocking out and answering questions and stuff. Oh, one. No, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna announce that yet. I want to make sure that because I feel like I've upset people time and time again. Every time I try to make this announcement, it doesn't. But for my InfoSec Unplugged watchers, stay tuned. So yeah. So if anybody has any other questions for me, if they do not, I'm gonna cut this off in about 3 minutes. And like I said, take a break, make some phone calls, and then try to get some gaming in with some of my gamers that we have here. General, I thank you. You too. Actually, I will end it with this. Um, Whatever it is you're working on, keep pushing. Whatever it is you feel like you're struggling with, you're one step closer to achieving that goal. This is coming from someone who's thought about quitting on so many different things, of so many different levels, on so many different occasions. I'll be honest with you, I'll probably think of quitting something tomorrow, but stick with it. It makes the journey that much, it makes the success that much more sweeter when you do finally achieve it. So stick with it, endure, survive, reassess, reevaluate, and return stronger. don't let it tear you down. Don't let the naysayers tear you down. Don't let the non-believers tear you down. Even if the non-believers are family, do not let anyone tear you down. You know why you were doing it. Remember your why. For my InfoSec Unplugged folk, y'all know what I mean when I say what is your why. Remember that. Remember that and make sure that why is strong enough that it's going to help you persevere through whatever difficulties you're going through. But when you get there, remember those moments. Remember those moments where you wanted to quit. Remember those moments where you felt like people didn't believe in you. Remember those moments because it'll be your testimony. All right. I felt like the end of Run's house when he used to text on like the BlackBerry and sitting in the hot and sitting in the bubble bath. But for real, just stick with it. Stick with it. Sometimes this might not be possible because of whatever life may get in the way, finances may get in the way. If that's the case, then take a step back and come back when you're stronger. But never let someone or something else totally deter you from your dream. All right. And I'm speaking from the bottom of my heart with that. So that is all I got for today. It is officially 4:30. Thank you to everyone who was watching. If I believe I answered every question, but if I did not answer every question, I will watch the replay of this video on all platforms and be sure to answer any questions that I may have missed. So it wasn't intentional, and I will do better next time. So I feel like these are good to do every week. So let's continue to figure some stuff out every week. As a matter of fact, this might fall into our AppSec space. Who knows? I don't know yet. But for those who want to be added to the mailing list, just shoot me an email at information@alphaesports.tech or djackson@alphaesports.tech. Make sure you're following me on social media so you can see up here Alpha Esports Tech on Twitter, Alpha Esports Tech on Instagram, and then YouTube and Twitch is also Alpha Esports Tech. And you can follow me on my personal Twitter at djax_alpha. So until next time, everybody, y'all stay safe. Y'all keep it classy, stay safe, and keep pushing. Peace.